Hey guys, I made a video about this battery, testing it and everything. By the time I got done editing it and everything, it ended up being like 29 minutes long. And since I'm new to YouTube, I'm only allowed to put on 15-minute videos until I'm recognized. So just FYI, I just jumped on here to let you know I'm going to be cutting a lot of stuff out, maybe fast forwarding through a lot of stuff so I can get it on there. So just FYI, that's why it's so short. So maybe later on, once I get recognized, I'll post the full one. Anyways, let it roll. Here we go. Hello guys, how's it going? Jason here. I bought another battery and I tested my first one out, and it's one of them time batteries, 12.8 volt, 200 amp hour, lithium iron phosphate battery. So I kind of tested this one out, and I ended up getting 212 amp hours out of it. But I was doing it through my solar panels that I got, a couple solar panels I got out there. So I just kind of charged it with that. Max amperage going into it was 20 amps. That was during full sun. So now I'm going to disconnect this battery monitor and stick it on to my new one and see if I get the same results. Yeah, I got the sucker on Amazon. I'm trying to remember how much I got it for. It was like 500 something bucks, under 600 bucks. And then of course I had to pay for shipping and handling, which I think was another 100, which is a really good price. But what I want to do is discharge this all the way down to where the BMS inside shuts off and won't let me discharge anymore. Then I could charge it up and see if I could get that same result, like 212, 210 amp hours. If so, that'd be great. They surpassed their 200 amp rating on here. Oh, I should probably check the voltage first, huh? See what we got before we really dig into this thing. .16. Also, it's about 40% capacity at that voltage. So it's telling us it's 13.20 volts right now. Should reset this stuff. Then once this is drained out, I can reset all this and do our charging. So I guess I'm gonna need to hook this up to my inverter. I'm just new at this game, guys, so I'm playing around with it. I do have my inverter. Alright, I didn't realize when I touched this camera it shut off. Anyways, yeah, as I was showing you before, that's my inverter. It's just a square wave. It's not a true sine wave inverter, 60 hertz. And I had just connected this battery up to it. Got my battery monitor on. And I hooked up an extension cord to my wet dry vac, so we could use it to pull the power down. So, as I was saying, what I'm trying to do with this setup is I'm experimenting with these batteries, with the inverter, because I want to try to get my shed off grid and onto solar. Once I get that played around with, how much battery capacity I need, how much solar capacity I need, eventually I'll gear up and maybe make it bigger and bigger and bigger, maybe get my house on solar power. But the big key thing is batteries, and they're not cheap either. So let's go ahead and get this thing drained, and I'll turn on the wet dry vac, and I'll see that sucker pop up. Turn on the inverter. See, the inverter's not that efficient. It's drawing 2.6 amps DC just as it runs. For some reason the fans run on it. I'd rather the fans come on when it gets hot. So yeah, let me go ahead and turn on the wet dry vac. It's pulling 77 amps. So I let that go for a while until she dies. Alright guys, we got it down to 10.96 volts. So it's pretty much dead. So let me reset everything here.
Daddy!
I'm gonna leave it at 220 amp hours.
Daddy!
Yes.
Big screwdrivers.
My screwdrivers. Come here. Don't poke your eye out. Okay, as we were, I'm gonna leave it at 220 amp hours, even though this is 200 amp hours. Let's see the max, because last time I tested that battery, I left it at 200 amp hours, and it stopped counting right at 200 amp hours, even though it was still charging. That drove me nuts. So putting it at 220 amp hours. Remaining, I need to change that. So right now it's pumping 35 amps in. I know when it gets closer to 90, 80 and 90, it'll be pumping 20 amps. Pumping 30 amps in there. Every once in a while I'll come back and check, make sure these connections aren't getting too hot. We'll come back. See, right now this is saying to take about 6 hours, 6.5 hours to charge at that rate. But I think it'll be faster than that. Alright guys, it is now 12:29. We're at 20 amps, pushing 20 amps in. Saying I got like 8 hours left of charging at that rate. I kind of want to speed it up. I'll be hitting the sack by the time that happens. So I'm going to go ahead and hook my solar panels up. That'll hopefully boost it up to about 40 amps, close to 40 amps. kind of gives you in the manual the percentage voltages and the percentage it's approximately at. So this is a 200 amp hour, energy 2560 watt hours. And it tells you all the recommendations. Current charge at 40 amps, which is a 0.2 C rate. See, the battery management system BMS is 100 amps, so maximum charge discharge is 100 amps. Maximum discharge current for 5 seconds, 280 amps, which is kind of nice for 5 seconds for them surges. Max continuous load, 1280 watts. I think I saw it. There's 15 volts where the high volt disconnect will shut off. Here it is. Over voltage disconnect, 15 volts, it will shut down. And over voltage reconnect is at 14.2. So the voltage has to come down to 14.2 before you can get any juice out of it. Alright guys, I don't know when that stopped, but it stopped at 218.21 amp hours. And let me shut the charger off here. So 218 amp hours, that's freaking cool. Don't mind the voltage, it's got to come down. If I start disconnecting stuff here, yeah, it'll start coming down. That's just what it was putting out without the battery. So here we go. Now she's settling down. Golly, I almost got 3,000 kilowatt or 3,000 watt hours. I like that. That's first time being charged. Only discharged once to get all the way down and recharged up. So that's really good. I'm really happy about that. So what I want to do is hook both those batteries up in parallel to that inverter and see if both these batteries can start my air compressor. One of them can't do it. One battery, it won't do it. I think the surge is too high. So if I have two batteries, maybe it'll do it. So my next project is I'm going to put these in parallel, both these in parallel. Hook it up to the inverter, and then probably do some load tests. Do a load test, drain it all the way down, recharge them both back up, see if I get my 400 amp hours out of it. I hear you, George. So that'll be the next test. But anyways, thanks for watching. This is all new to me. I've just kind of been playing around, watching people on YouTube and stuff do their thing. Like I said, what I'm trying to do is build up enough to get my shed off a grid or off my house power, and go from there, and then maybe slowly build up to include the house. But I know the house is going to take a lot more than my shed. So, but anyways, that's the whole situation. Oh, what I was going to say is I got this battery, 200 amp hour, 100 amp BMS in it. I got this off of Amazon, and I got the last 200 amp hour one. So these two are identical.